And look, first of all, just a massive thank you for everyone for joining us this evening. This is, of course, our first pitch night of the year, so excited to get back to it. But actually, it's our 5th in partnership with Oracle NetSuite. And I think, look, everyone on this call is fully aware of just how crucial funding is as part of the journey for any high growth business. So at the Founder Network, it's just so important that we address it, but also create platforms like this where founders can access investors, not just for investment, but also actually for that feedback, advice, to help us scale that much more efficiently. And of course, with everything we do, it's always so important that we align with a partner that can really bring it to life, but also really aligns with our mission to help founders reach their full growth potential. And I think that we've really found that in Oracle NetSuite. So big thank you to Dave Rosenberg, who you'll see on your screen, who'll be sitting on our investor panel today. Always seems to bring these sessions to life. But also Kylie Webb and the team behind the scenes at Oracle NetSuite. So big thank you to you guys. Alongside Dave today, we are joined by Constanza, who you'll see on your screen in a moment, from Octopus Ventures, who, along with Dave, can put our pitches through their paces a little bit. But again, as I say, offer that advice and feedback as well. So look, I think we're set for a pretty insightful and entertaining evening. We've got 5 pretty incredible pitches. We're going to hear everything from sustainable on-demand laundry services to the Airbnb of boats. So a good range for you as well today. And what we'll do, just to kick off, Dave, I'm going to hand over to you to share a bit about your experiences in the investor world, any advice for these guys and the people on the call, and anything you'd like to share with us on how NetSuite are currently helping SMEs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to spend the next 45 minutes lecturing you all on this. Just kidding. Quick say hello, thanks everybody to our companies. This is a lot of work for these guys, so we appreciate the effort that goes into it. And I can tell you from having raised money before, you need the practice, so it's always good to do this and keep going. And we're in a time, I hesitate to say unprecedented, but there's a lot going on in the world. And so it's always good to take a step back, think about what you're doing, see if you can find something that really makes you happy and drives you forward on this. So from a startup perspective, this is definitely a opportunistic environment for you. So go think about what you want to do. And I think also, just as the more I read about people quitting jobs and doing new and exciting things, on the one hand, because now I'm old, I get scared. On the other hand, I'm excited for all of you to go do it, as long as I don't have to. So that's good. But I'm happy to help. So as you think about that stuff, I think there are lots of ways, and put my NetSuite hat on for a minute. The key to this stuff, as you think, whether it's from work from home or it's just decentralization in general, either from the perspective of software or for people or processes. I mean, all the companies pitching today are highly decentralized, and I'll get to the questions about that later on. But it's it's very interesting that we see this trend is no longer a trend; it's the reality. So I think when you think about how do you build your business, you put a system in place, and this is what we do at NetSuite. And there's 29,000 customers at this point, so obviously it works, at least for that. When you think about financing and fundraising, it feels interminable and often terrible. And then the worst part is it's not the hardest part. So just keep it in mind that it's just part of the journey, right? It's something that in many cases you need to do, right? And so think about it as a stepping stone. You can also learn a lot from it. I mean, I think that's the thing that I've come to realize when you're raising money either for a company or as a fund or whatever else. Somewhere down the line, you're doing sales, you're doing project management, you're doing product management, you're doing all this stuff. And so basically, you're dealing with everything you're going to have to do. And it's just, how do you contextualize that in the space of your company? So for our people today, of course, we want them to all do well. They are already pretty far along in how they position their companies and themselves. And so I think, take advantage of what they're doing and see what else you can learn. And they're going to put their best foot forward to tell you a good story about what they're doing. And that's it.
Perfect, Dave. Thank you very much for that. And look, for everyone on the call, we're also keen to hear your thoughts throughout this. So what we'll do is while people are pitching and while the pitch videos are on, feel free to ask any questions that you have in the chat, and we can put that to the pitchers as well. And also what we'll do is towards the end of each pitch, we're going to pop up a poll on Zoom where you can give your opinion. This is great feedback for those pitching, but also great to get a sense of what everyone else on the call is thinking as well. So do look out for that. So look, first up, we've got Kyle, who is the founder of Oxwash, who offer on-demand sustainable laundry service. So you may recognize Kyle from our recent documentary, Founders Changing the World. So do check that out if you've not seen that yet. But what we'll do is let's go straight to the pitch video and then we'll come back for the questions.
Hi everyone, my name's Kyle, the founder and CEO of Oxwash. Oxwash is a laundry and wet cleaning service allowing consumers and businesses the ability to make a conscious, sustainable and convenient choice for their washing requirements. We offer value to tens of thousands of individuals at home and hundreds of businesses all across the UK. As a business, we exist to permanently eliminate the negative impact of washing on our planet and us. We are not a laundry and dry cleaning marketplace or Uber for X app. Dubbed the Ocado of laundry, we vertically integrated our service, owning customer acquisition, logistics, processing, and product. This allows us to deliver a reliable and consistent service to our customers, whilst also executing an award-winning, best-in-class proprietary washing process that has the best impact and sustainability metrics in the world. Our proprietary washing process allows us to wash everyday items, such as bedding and towels, better than NHS standards, but also to wash items that no one else can, such as graphene-coated polyester and flower petal-down jackets. Alongside satins and silks, these materials are what people would typically take to the dry cleaners. Therefore, using Oxwash, we can fulfill both laundry and dry cleaning requirements in one place, in one process. The washing of garments and textiles is a massive global industry. It's a sleeping giant growing at 35% year on year and due to reach $110 billion by 2025. The technology within the industry has been innovation deficient for decades, lacking scalability, automation, and typically yielding incredibly small margins. On top of inadequate service within the industry, the impact of washing on our ecosystems and us is massive. A wealth of peer-reviewed research has recently shown that over a third of ocean plastic pollution comes from our clothes, in the form of tiny microfibers of polyesters, polyamides and nylons. These microfibers go down the drain from our washing processes, ending up in the oceans, and bioaccumulating back up the food chain into our food and us. That's unacceptable, and we have to change the way that we clean our clothes today. We have a strong track record of operational and commercial growth despite the global pandemic, and have built out a robust playbook for scaling our operations and service within the UK and then internationally. We're the only company that's able to demonstrate that our proprietary washing process is 5 to 6 times less impactful than washing at home or using a dry cleaners. Our strong product market fit is demonstrated by our market-leading AOV of £45 and a CAC to LTV ratio of 1 to 5. Our robust growth is demonstrated by a 460% growth in 2020 and 350% growth in 2021. And we've also passed a 1 million ARR in our top-line revenue. The surge of conscious yet convenient consumerism, coupled with the rise of circular fashion models, has driven high demand for our service and product. In 2030, the $84 billion circular fashion market will be twice the size of fast fashion, and high-quality, sustainable washing is critical to the rental and resale proposition. In the future, we want to be the platform enabling true sustainability in the circular economy, washing items either ourselves or exclusively on technology licensed from us. Join us on our journey to bring simple, sustainable laundry and wet cleaning to everyone.
Great video, Colin. Thanks for taking the time to put that together. So hopefully we should have time to get a couple of rounds of questions in here. So Dave, I'll let you kick off first.
I was hoping to get a couple of rounds of laundry in here in this. Sorry, too easy for that one. Thank you. No, it's fascinating. I mean, I've looked into this quite a bit, and having the environmental aspect in and of itself is a big one. But I'll start with this question, which is, when you look at the business target, so your market and TAM numbers aside, consumer versus restaurants and such, do you have a focus? Does it matter, or is it really more just they're both opportunistic? Let's start there.
Great question. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on the call, everyone. It's incredibly difficult watching a video of yourself back live in front of people, so just want to acknowledge that. But our focus as a business is to build a platform that accommodates both consumers and businesses in the same way, in the same process, on the same logistics platform. You typically see big variances in seasonality and consumer demand versus business demand. And by serving both segments, you can normalize that demand throughout the year. Whereas if you serve just one segment, there's some pretty significant peaks and troughs throughout the year. So in January, for example, we typically see our gym chains sending us high volumes of towels as everyone's back in the gym. But restaurants not sending us as much table linen because everyone's spent all their money on Christmas presents and eating out prior to Christmas. So we have a really healthy diversity and split across those different segments that we haven't perfected, but we're definitely on the way to getting a nice smooth normalization.
Cool. Yeah, Constanza.
And Constanza, over to you for your first question.
Thank you, Kyle. I thought the video was great, to be honest. So don't feel any bad about it. So well, brilliant solution, and especially the fact that it's 5 to 6 times greener or less impactful than washing at home. However, I'm having a trouble to understand why. How is different your model, and what is that unique advantage that you guys have that might be hard to replicate, that makes it possible to have these outcomes?
Yeah, it's a good one, and I think to explain this, maybe some background on myself is useful. So I'm an aerospace engineer by training, used to work on life support systems to keep people alive in space. And there's not one thing that keeps somebody alive in space. It's multiple inputs. It's water that you drink, it's the energy that keeps you warm, it's the food that you eat. Washing is exactly the same. You need to use water, energy, chemistry, mechanical motion, logistics to move items from point A dirty to point B clean. And it is a multifaceted approach. So we approach this as process engineers, and our proprietary defensibility is in the platform and algorithm that matches the flux of demand logistically in a hyper-local model with the high throughput washing facility. That's different to laundry apps that just find dry cleaners all over the place and just say, we'll make a marketplace and sell demand to you. And by owning that core value, i.e. the washing, we're able to really double down on water reclamation, biodegradable chemistry. We're starting to dry clothes using IP that we've developed using acoustic energy instead of high temperatures, which is a massive energy saving and allows clothes to last a lot longer. So we're very much more like an Ocado or Amazon warehouse with robotics and deep domain defensibility than just a software for software's sake play. But both are important.
Perfect, brilliant.
Perfect, Cole. You're getting some nice comments in the comment section, which is always nice. But Chris Reynolds is asking, you mentioned the growth at 460%. Just how are you defining that? Is it turnover, profit, customers? What are you looking at there?
Yeah, just top line. Absolutely. So I think in 2020 for the year, at the end, we were at a 125K run rate. And then at the end of the year after that, 330, 340. And then we've hit over 1 million at the end of last year and still growing, which is really nice, despite the pandemic shutting a lot of our customers down Airbnbs, cafes, restaurants, bars, all just closed overnight. So it's been nice to move more into healthcare a little to normalize that a little. We did all the laundry for the COVID vaccine development, which was really high quality work. That's where we tested out our kind of NHS standard cleaning, which was fun. Lots of laboratory testing.
Perfect. And Mike is asking, what sort of competition do you see to this model, and is that driven by technology? Is it a completely different model? What is it that you'd see as real competition?
I think for me, the primary competition comes from people's washing machines at home, and that deep existing behavior in Europe, not so much in the US, of doing your laundry and dry cleaning, well, mostly laundry yourselves, whereas in other geographies, like the eastern side of the US, for example, outsourcing of that chore is quite common. So behavioral change is probably the biggest barrier, and getting people to get rid of their washing machines over time, in the same way that people have gotten rid of their kitchens because they just Deliveroo, right?
There you go. And another question that's just come in is, could you tell us a bit more about who your target customer is?
Yeah, I think it's usually a cash-rich, time-poor consumer that likes to evangelize about their sustainability metrics, to be a bit cynical. And on the B2B side, it's typically a business that just needs reliability, convenience, and for a good price. That sustainability is becoming more of a key facet for our sales team when we sell to the world, but actually just getting the basics right, turning up on time with clean items that aren't mixed up with somebody else's, wins retention and minimizes churn every time.
Perfect. Dave or Constanza, any other questions from you for Kyle?
Oh, there was a couple for, I guess the thing that we forgot to ask you, Kyle, was you're raising money now, or you are in process, and so how much are you raising? And I guess maybe for the audience, maybe you could also just sort of give a little bit of why why you're doing it that way.
Of course, yeah. So we are raising a Series A presently. We have commitments from existing investors, such as founder of Twitter, some big corporates, and some other VCs. But we are looking for a lead investor that has domain experience in scaling an operations and technology business, like Ocado, like some of the 10-minute grocery startups. That's the model we're certainly looking to scale. The money will be used to dominate the UK market before looking to wrap our operations into a license model that we can then expand globally and really start to move the needle on the impact of washing.
Okay, Constanza, any last questions from yourself?
Maybe linked to that one. So you mentioned at the end that you see this expanding maybe through a license model, but do you see other adjacent markets where you would like to go?
Yep, we already kind of dipped our toe in a few, which we find fascinating. One is in the washing of plastics before they're recycled into new products. So we have a couple of partnerships where we're washing classic microfiber granules. Often it's cosmetic products packaging that's been shredded down into pellets that still has shampoo, foundation, conditioner, whatever it is inside of those bottles. We wash that without any of the typical nasty footprint that comes with that, and then it gets processed into new products. So there's a couple of cool adjacent verticals in that circular material space that I'm very interested in as well.
Yeah, that's fascinating and definitely a pain point.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle, we're looking forward to seeing that and seeing how that plays out. But thank you so much for putting the time and effort into this. We really appreciate it. Awesome pitch. And just thank you for being a part of it. So next up, we've got Annil, who is the founder of Wurkr, who offer virtual workspace to fit into this new hybrid world that we found ourselves into. So once again, let's go straight to the pitch video, and then we'll come back for the questions.
Our world is rapidly moving towards the concept of hybrid workspaces. More companies are adopting flexible and remote work models. However, there's a high chance that your team might experience loneliness, disorientation, and reduced productivity due to lack of any real connection among them. That's why we need a virtual work environment where our team can seamlessly communicate and collaborate in real time. whether we are in a physical office or working from anywhere. So, say hello to Wurkr, the world's most immersive digital workspace application that allows teams to collaborate and stay efficient while working together from anywhere. Wurkr recreates your office environment virtually by providing customizable workspaces that fit your team's needs safely and securely. Teammates can now have spontaneous conversations and engage in real-time collaborations from wherever they are. Invite guests to your office with just a few clicks. Have conversations, multi-user screen share. Staying connected like this not only reduces the loneliness, but also increases your team's productivity exponentially. Moreover, get rid of commuting, space requirements, and the expenses that come along with it. Wurkr also helps you to cultivate a unified company culture, which focuses on talent and ability rather than geographical barriers. To top it all off, you're also contributing to a cleaner ecosystem by reducing your carbon footprint directly and indirectly with Wurkr. And you don't even have to take our word for it. Here's what our clients have to say about Wurkr. Impressive, right? Log on to www.wurkr.io and create a free workplace today to experience the wonders with Wurkr.
Another great and very smooth video. So Annil, thank you for putting that one together. Dave, let's go straight to you for your question, please.
Yeah, slick video. I always appreciate that. The first thing that came to mind, and I think your video actually highlighted it. So take a lesson, people. Presumably, you're integrating with existing tools, right? So I saw Slack and I saw Weston. So just curious, what the is there like a constant request for a tool, or how do you guys think about that? And is there any benefit of you having your own messaging or other integrations? How do you think about that? Because it is a bit of a sticky wicket. It's a British phrase, I think.
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, look, it's a very good question, and I think the absolute key here is the difference between video conferencing and the video space that we're in right now and typical collaboration products that already exist. So we're I would say, bridging the gap between video conferencing and collaboration, bringing it together in an immersive collaboration platform where you actually physically see your colleagues and work with them, on demand. We are integrating. I mean, the whole concept here is about integrating into existing solutions like Slack, because Slack is a great document text-based collaboration product, and we're the immersive front end to ensure that people feel connected, in the real sense. It's the cultural connections and the physical connections that we're providing rather than just text-based connectivity and collaboration that already exists.
Great, and Constanza, over to you for your question, please.
Thank you, Annil, for the pitch. My question might be a little bit unfair. I think in general, this virtual workspace solution, they really focus on real-time synchronous tasks. But to be able to really work from anywhere, as people are in different time zones, you really need to solve the issue of working asynchronously. Have you guys thought about that, and have you guys developed any features that can help with those challenges?
Yeah, great question, Constanza. And the very, very simple answer here is this is about that new hybrid world we're living in now. This isn't just about, working remotely or working virtually throughout. I mean, the idea here and the concept here is very much about how do you connect and how do you stay connected when you're not in the same physical space. So it's the bridge again between asynchronous and synchronous as well. And this isn't a push everybody into, remote working or virtual working, working from home. This is about how do you connect and how do you stay, I would say, rather than being lonely, being connected and being working together, is the key piece there. That's the bridge that we're actually creating, not necessarily taking everybody out of offices and saying this is the future and working in this way, because the future is hybrid. You can spend a couple of days in the office, but when you're not working in the office, how do you then engage with your team? how do you pop over and tap somebody on the shoulder and say, can we grab 5 minutes to have a conversation? So it's bridging that gap of the asynchronous and synchronous way we're now working.
Thank you. Perfect.
I have a question also just based on some of in the chat there, James, which is there is a substantial security aspect to this thing. I would think you'd have to deal with. How have you guys approached that? Because besides, obvious things like side channel attacks, you have, encryption aspects, you've got things like, files being sent, and what's the approach to that?
So look, first and foremost, we're fairly light in terms of the data that we're collecting, so personal data. So there's not a lot of personal data that we're collecting. And if we're doing any sort of video or conversational meetings that are going on, it's all end-to-end encrypted. In fact, we work with Agora, which is one of the largest CPaaSs in the world, and they have a very robust end-to-end encrypted channel so that the product can actually connect between the two parties very, very seamlessly without any issues with security or data protection.
Good answer.
Perfect. And Annil, a couple of people are asking in the chat, and I think you have touched on this slightly, but it'd be great to get some more insight into how you see this really sitting aside from things that are already out there, like Teams and other software.
I think the key differentiator is Teams, Zoom, Skype, and the likes are typically video conferencing solutions. And imagine when you've finished a video meeting, how do you know where your colleagues are? How do you connect with your colleagues? Do you then revert back to having emails, WhatsApps, and all these different connected messaging platforms to try to then reconnect? What we're providing is that visible element of your colleagues on screen. So you can pop over and work with them in different spaces rather than just having a video meeting. So the products that exist are video meetings. They're not working together or collaboration products when it comes to that. And where you've got the collaboration products like Slack, they're more text and document-based collaboration rather than video collaboration. So this is bringing the two things together to ensure that you can work in this synchronous, asynchronous way as you want to, and replicate your, emotional connection to an office. That's the thing that's missing from a lot of the video meetings and the remote working apps that already exist.
Perfect. And Joe's wondering, with the movement into the metaverse, have you accounted for that? Is that something that you see yourselves integrating with, or is this a stepping stone towards that? How do you view that?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. I think the metaverse, is relatively new. And when you talk about the future of work and how people are adapting, can you visualize yourself with a headset sitting at your desk for maybe 6 or 8 hours of the day and trying to work in the metaverse? I think it becomes quite difficult to work in that way. I think there are elements of the metaverse which could be great, like having a VR, AR room, where you could actually go into and feel immersed. We are building out something called the Wurkr, which is similar to the metaverse. So there is an add-on to this, just to give a global feel to where large companies may have offices around the world, and how do you teleport between each of your offices and work with different people in different locations. So yes, is the answer. We are looking at the metaverse, but cautiously rather than aggressively, I think, at this stage, because it's still relatively a new concept, and we're still on the early rungs of the ladder in terms of what we're doing. So it will come, but way later down the line.
Let's say I'm a lousy employee. Can I hide?
Sorry,
Well, you always know where let's say I'm not so great. Like, I'm not a good employee. Like, I'm bad, let's be honest. And can I hide, or will someone always know where I am?
Well, look, there's always a way of hiding, because you can have multiple buildings.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, good.
Absolutely, yeah. You can create a building of your own, and you can actually be sitting in a building by yourself. So the answer is yes. This is not Big Brother. Yeah, the purpose is to allow the employee to choose to work in the way they want to work.
Dave, I cannot wait to take that as an out of context clip of you.
I don't know that it's out of context. That's the worst part.
There we go.
Thanks, Annil.
Thank you so much for putting your pitch together and taking the time out to answer the questions as well. We appreciate that. So next up, we've got Ben from Pedal Me, a logistics and pedicab company based across London. You may have noticed Ben was out running or recycling, Ben, literally 30 seconds ago. So impressive that you've got yourself into a state now where you can focus up and pitch. But once again, let's go straight to the pitch video and we'll come back for the questions.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Knowles. I'm Rider and Chief Exec, and this is Pedal Me. We use highly trained staff riding bespoke e-assist cargo bikes and trailers to allow us to do deliveries that other people would really struggle to do by bike. So we can carry people by bike, out-competing motors, getting past the traffic. We can do large-scale multi-trop deliveries all across London. And we have the largest cargo bike-only fleet in the world. Today, some 90 bikes. Because of the way we train our staff, we have much better journey time reliability. And that means that we can overlay jobs and hit the time windows for each customer on the way. That means that we can get paid for the highest margin jobs out there, time-sensitive jobs, and we can overlay them at the same time, so we can capture huge margins. And most importantly, we have the rider supply to complete this. So we have a unique offer where we offer full employment, we provide shares to the rider. Every member of staff at Pedal Me is incentivized to increase rider pay. Their salary is dependent on rider pay increasing. So that means that we attract smart, motivated human beings that really want to work for us. And we have a waiting list of people wanting to come in and work for us today. We gave our data to the University of Westminster, and they looked at our multi-drop deliveries across London. What they found was that we outcompeted motor vehicles by 60%. So we could do 60% more deliveries in the same time. And that's key to what's allowing us to offer lower costs to the consumer and higher pay to the riders. It's a quick summary of where we're to. We can carry more, further, faster. We're more efficient than motors, and we're able to cater 3/4 of commercial urban logistics in London. But we're not planning on staying just in London, and the worldwide addressable market size is ridiculously big. Finally, as we grow, we get more efficient and we increase margin. And I'm going to show you that in the next couple of slides. So this purple mountain that you can see in the background on this graph, that's showing gross revenue per month. What you can see is a really clear exponential growth function up until the start of COVID, and since restrictions easing from the COVID period. This red line that you can see is burn as a percentage of revenue, and you can see that sharply trending downwards over time. As we grow, we get more efficient, and we grow towards profitability. Looking ahead, today, our best months, we're hitting about 40% gross margin, which is already pretty high. But with future planned tech improvements and increased scale, we can hit 60% gross margins. Huge. We're also expecting exponential growth to continue over time in London and in other cities too. That's been a quick whistle-stop tour of Pedal Me. Here are my contact details, and I look forward to your questions.
Great, thanks for that, Ben. And I've got to say, we seem to see your bikes going past our office just about every day now, and outside of Vauxhall. So good to see you out and about. Dave, let's go straight to you for your first question, please.
Yeah. So Ben, two questions on the first thing. The first one. So you are raising money. Is that yeah? And why would be my if you got this great business going?
Like many startups, we're loss making, and we will likely continue to be so while we are rapidly expanding. So today we have about 90 employees today, and we had 55 employees last March. So we're expanding very, very quickly. What you experience when you're growing very, very quickly is all your systems are a little bit not quite up to speed, and you're constantly upgrading them. You're constantly investing in growth. You're constantly investing in upskilling your people. All of this stuff is really expensive, and you need to keep on putting in the money. And that's before we talk about the assets. So our bikes are our own design. We're the only people that can access them. We are investing in R&D. So today's bikes are much more efficient than using motor vehicles around cities, but not much is needed to make cargo bikes even more efficient. So we should have 3 prototypes landing within the next month, which have half the aerodynamic drag of our existing bikes. They have higher carrying capacity. And we also have a new design of trailer coming, which is much lighter than our existing trailer design. So we have bikes, then we have trailers that go behind. The problem is our trailers at the minute are great. They can carry everything, but they weigh 100 kilos. So they're a big thing to carry around. They really impact battery capacity. They really make the job very, very physical. It makes it very difficult for you to link up the jobs in a way that's efficient for logistics. So we have new trailer designs coming that are 40 kilos instead of 100 kilos and are only a little bit smaller, so it can do the vast majority of jobs. There's a lot to invest in. We need to invest in tech. We need people with experience of running big organizations, which we are rapidly becoming. So the total addressable market size worldwide is like $450 billion a year. So we need 4.5 million employees. This is the first time I've ever managed someone formally, and now I'm managing a team of 90 people. I need heavy hitting people from big organizations who have understanding of how big organizations function to help me get to that scale, right? Because this is just not, I need to draw from the people around me. And I've got a great team of directors around me already, but I need those people who have that experience of big companies, which is something that we've recently onboarded the former director of operations from Citymapper, Olivier. He's great, and I'm really excited to have him on board. We need to keep on growing that senior leadership team and ready for the challenges ahead.
Yeah, things got real, as we might say, right? That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's those are good answers for everybody in the audience too. And also, I'd like to just thank you for saying that you need a system in place to manage all this stuff. So I will then pass it over to Costanza for her questions.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Ben. Watching the video actually remind me a little bit of the Netherlands. I used to live in Amsterdam for a bit, and over there, obviously, everybody rides in bike, but they always carrying the most crazier things, guitars, big bags, a bunch of things. So yeah, great solution. I mean, it's faster, cheaper, greener. What else can you ask for? I'm a little bit confused about the go-to-market strategy. So who are you targeting to? Is this a B2B play, a B2C play? How are you getting to your customers?
So what we offer is faster, cheaper, cleaner logistics to whoever needs it. So we carry people. We do large-scale multi-drop deliveries. We do point-to-point deliveries. We do battery swaps for dockless electric bikes, for like Lime bikes and the like. And by being in lots of different markets, that provides us with resilience against market disruption. So, for example, COVID's a great example, because before COVID, our markets were primarily business to business and carrying people. And suddenly everyone stopped going anywhere and all the businesses shut down. So 95% of our work disappeared really quite quickly. It didn't help that I actually had COVID as all of this was happening, and I was trying to steer the ship over choppy waters while just drenched in sweat. Yeah, we were able to pivot and move more towards home deliveries, which we did very successfully. So delivering for, we worked with Lambeth Council and delivered their care packages to sick and shielding people all across Lambeth. They got FOI'd about that not so long ago, actually, and they were challenged as to why they were using this small company, and they said they were cheaper and they could do more deliveries in the same time. And that's at the heart of what we do. We're just more efficient. So that applies to whatever domain of logistics you want to look at, and we have such great resilience, and we will continue creating new products to give us access to different parts of the market. But I also don't really want to take like every single bit of logistics. It's really exciting to me to see other companies using psychologistics, hopefully partly as a result of seeing what we're doing. You know, we've got Oxwash, who they use cargo bikes to fulfill their logistics side. And we have a consultancy wing. We support companies into making use of cargo bikes themselves. So we can empower a really big change in cities. It's not just through the logistics we're doing ourselves.
Thank you, very clear.
Perfect. Ben, we've got just a couple of questions from the audience as well, and just bringing it back to the number of riders that you're going to need to reach your ambition. What are you looking to do going forward when it comes to incentivizing riders, and how do you do that at scale?
So our current model is that riders are paid an hourly rate plus commission. And then there are some other parameters in there. So we guarantee London living wage. And then there are various other bonuses that they can access depending on company performance and dependent on them referring new riders to us, because that's the key thing. We want good people to come and work for us. We need the best riders out there to want to come and work for us, to allow us to keep on growing and keep on offering a great level of service. What happens as we get bigger is that we become more efficient as an organization. And what that allows to happen is dead miles reduce. So riders earn more commission because they're earning more money for the company. And we're also able to overlay more tasks. So we're able to do stacking where we have multiple jobs that are heading in the same direction at the same time, and earn multiple commissions for the same mileage.
Perfect, Ben. Thank you very much for that. There are one or two additional questions in the chat, so I don't know if you want to jump in there and answer those directly. That'd be great. But thank you for putting together the video and taking some time out to answer the questions. So, look, next up, we've got Matt, founder of Borrow a Boat, who framed themselves as the Airbnb of boats. So effectively a platform for both borrowing and renting boats. So once again, let's go straight to the video and then we'll come back for questions.
I'm Matt Ovenden, CEO and founder of Borrow a Boat, the UK's leading boat charter marketplace. And so, after successful fundraisers on here in 2017, 2018 and 2020, we're now back on Crowdcube. We've been on a journey made possible by the overwhelming support of investors of all sorts, and with 3.8 million raised since 2017, I'm about to tell you about the next chapter of the story. I founded Borrow a Boat in 2016 to help make boating more accessible and to help boat owners at the same time. We're bringing a modern level of access to boating and to help increase participation in boating. We were pioneers of peer-to-peer boat charter in the UK, bringing unprecedented choice and flexibility to the charter market. Not long after we got going, it was soon clear that the wider charter industry as a whole was crying out for a wider tech marketplace solution. And so, since then, Borrow a Boat has grown and evolved to become a boating marketplace for the whole boating industry worldwide, for both peer-to-peer boats and a large number of the world's commercial fleets. In fact, most of them. We now have access to over 35,000 boats in more than 65 countries. In 2019, we were the headline sponsor at the UK's biggest boat show in Southampton, and we also launched Borrow a Boat Plus, a luxury sub-brand for the large and growing luxury crude charter market, including superyachts. This is an undisturbed but very lucrative part of the market, and it's gone from strength to strength in making up a growing percentage of our bookings, and we've only really just scratched the surface. 2020 threw the whole industry and the world a curveball, and whilst trading was interrupted, we reacted by doubling down on the tech improvements, including building industry-leading digital marketing optimizations and further automation of the customer flow to build a solid technological base for scaling the business across multiple countries.
2021 has been a busy year for us with our international launches, and most importantly, we've already started getting real traction in these markets, particularly in the US. This has been backed up by ongoing product development to improve the user experience and the automation of admin-heavy customer management processes. Borrowboat's website is now fully optimized to increase our digital presence, which has contributed to our organic traffic growth of more than 1,000% since the beginning of 2020. With more international markets being launched by the end of the year, further opportunities in the domestic market, and the shift online of this big established sector, we're poised to capitalize on the inevitable growth potential.
Then in 2021, we've really seen the market coming back strongly. Following a successful raise at the beginning of the year, we announced our intention to launch into 8 new countries in 2021. And we've been delivering on that promise, launching into the USA in March 2021 and in May and June into Canada and Australia respectively. And we'll shortly be launching into New Zealand, Italy, Spain, France and Germany. Revenues and customer traction have been building through the year as well, despite the moving goalposts on travel restrictions and the market being significantly down. Our sales have accelerated to all-time highs by summer 2021, with the building of revenues through the year. We've had massive months of bookings in 2021, with July this year being our biggest ever. Also in 2021, another big step forward for Borrowboat was when we acquired specialist luxury charter broker Helm. Helm have a large and loyal customer base and a strong reputation in the luxury boating space, and their skills and expertise, plus brand, really boost our capabilities in this end of the market.
We were excited to join forces with Borrowboat as we felt they shared our vision for how the industry needs to modernise in order to serve the broader holiday market and for making luxury charters more accessible. We recognise great alignment between the businesses with real complementary skill sets.
We're excited about the future direction of the business and see huge growth potential for crude and luxury charters. We believe that together with the right technology platform and marketing, combined with our knowledge of this end of the market, we can really scale this globally.
So, having shown strong growth in a recovering market in 2021, we're now planning the way forward for 2022 and what could be the biggest year of travel the world has ever seen. And that's why, to power the next stage of the company's growth, we're in the early stages of planning to be the first boat charter marketplace worldwide to IPO and list on a public market, or float as the case may be. We've chosen the Aquis Exchange in London as the best fit for our fast-growing tech company. We've got a great team in place and we're well positioned to grow and scale internationally. So why not come on board now and join us in a fast-growing and exciting business, building traction in a huge and mature global boating industry. And this time, don't miss the boat.
Thanks for that, Matt. Looked like a tough gig having to go out and film that one. But
someone had to do it, right?
Very, very slick video. So thank you for that. Dave, let's go to you for questions, please.
Yes, slick video for sure. And I'm not a boat guy, but I occasionally watch that show Below Deck. I don't do you guys. We have that in the US, and it's like, hey, luxury boats, and people do crazy crap. So which leads me to 2 questions. The first one is, whenever I see that, I wonder what percentage of the time are boats sitting idle? I have to think it's a lot. So if I own a boat, how often am I using it?
Oh yeah, I mean, marinas are full of boats that don't get used. I mean, in the UK, I think boats are used between 2 and 4 weeks a year. So they're sitting there perhaps
okay.
4 weeks of the year not being used.
Yeah.
I mean, that was where
it's very appealing.
Yeah, that was where the initial idea of the business came from, to do peer-to-peer boating. So we were the first in the UK, although to ever do peer-to-peer boat charter. And it's about monetizing underutilized assets that are sitting there costing a lot of money. You help the owner out at the same time as helping someone who wants to go boating out, and it works for both parties. I mean, that was the brand new thing we really brought on the market, and we still are the only ones, by the way, in the UK doing peer-to-peer boat charter. But what we've done since then, as I said in the video, is kind of aggregated the boat rental market as well with commercial fleets. I mean, I got approached by Sunsail. Sunsail's a big company with 600 yachts within a few months of launching, and they said, Matt, can we put 600 yachts onto Borrowboat? And then you suddenly realize straight away, hang on, there isn't a booking.com of boats here. Actually, it's a big gap in this industry. Consumers expect a modern marketplace type experience booking a boat, just like they can book their flights or their vacation rental or their hotel or their car or their Deliveroo, marketplaces, dominate our life now, don't we? We can do everything on a marketplace. Well, boating is no different. It needs a marketplace. So we suddenly found ourselves not only pioneering peer-to-peer, but actually building the marketplace for boating worldwide. And that's why we've gone up to the number of boats has gone up since that video was shot a few months ago. There are 45,000 boats on the platform in over 65 countries.
Yeah, there's a lot of, if I may, John Luongo, who was one of the very early Oracle, he was maybe number 11 at Oracle, once told me, if you ever make any money, never buy a boat or a horse. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, it's the most expensive thing you'll ever own, and you'll never use it enough. So it's interesting. And, the idea of these underutilized assets is very cool. I mean, now I feel like I should go become a boat guy. Please, Constance, on to you.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, and great video, Matt. So really a lot of summer vibes there. So in the video you mentioned that you guys were planning to expand into the US, Canada, a few other places. What are the most important challenges that you guys face when you are expanding to a new geography, and what are the bottlenecks or the weak part of the ecosystem where you need to spend more time and resources on?
Sure. Well, we're a digital business, so we grow our business online. So it's all about customer acquisition, traffic, online traffic, Google positions. So we launched in the USA last spring, March, April time. We launched a separate website for America. We did the same for Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And this is this sort of digital growth strategy to employ, get into as many different geos as you can with the company. Have a separate website per country. So we've got a customized homepage for America, which has got more of the American boating places on there, like Miami, Rhode Island, New York, Chesapeake Bay, and then we have to do separate activity to promote our Google positions in America. We have to do separate Google ads campaigns over there. You could be the top of Google in England, but you're not in America, so you have to do a whole separate load. So we've got a whole separate marketing strategy basically for that country, and PR strategy as well. You can go further and add in an office, a customer service office. And I guess the challenges, the question is, where's the biggest challenges in growing into multiple countries? There was a reason we did the English-speaking countries first, because obvious reasons, but we're now building the French, German, Italian, and Spanish websites, and this means making sure we've got all those languages in the customer service team as well as good content writers to put good content on the sites that are relevant for those countries that will be well received by Google and will rank our sites. So we are looking at ways to do
Matt, I think we're just losing you.
Countries. So in January just gone, we acquired. Oh,
sorry, Matt. I think we were just losing. You seem to have just come back now, but we couldn't hear that answer.
Not sure what that was. I was just going to say the thing we did in January is that we acquired a competitor. So we acquired a company called Wurkr in January, which is the Dutch borrow boat, as a way to expand into that country and overcome some of the challenges of the language and other issues with growing into a new country.
So Matt, you're at the stage of growth here where you need to spend money to make money. Is a little bit of what I'm reading between the lines.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yeah, we are. We're past the point of discussing this business is it viable or not? Does the business model work? No, we're not. This is happening. This is a foregone conclusion. We're not the only ones with the same idea, and that also tells you a lot. So there is a similar business in America. There was a Dutch one, there's a German one, a French one. So they're cropping up, but no one's dominating the space globally at this point. So we're in a bit of a race for market share now against the Americans, the French, and the Germans. And it's a race to raise capital. Who can raise capital the fastest? Who can get the most online customers? Who can create the best user journey? Who can have the most innovative product, the best breadth of services? And this is what we're up against. It's going to be interesting. It's going to consolidate out in the next couple of years. There's going to be a unicorn, at least one unicorn out of this space. I mean, we get called the Airbnb of boats. They floated for 83 billion. We're not saying we'll be as big as that, but it's expected a company will be worth 1 billion out of this space at least. So yeah, it's about raising capital and going fast. And this is why we're launching as many countries as possible. And that's why we raised just before Christmas, and we're raising again here. And we're also quite acquisitive. We've done 3 acquisitions now. We're looking at other potential ones as a faster way to grow.
Perfect.
Cool.
Well, Matt,
very different perspective for us, James.
Very, very different. So
Yeah.
always interesting to see. Matt, thank you so much for putting that together and answering the questions. There are 2 or 3 questions in the chat for you as well. So I don't know if you'd like to jump in there and answer them directly. That would be great. So look, next up, we have Stephen from Farmstand, who are a subscription service for healthier, quicker meals. Something that I know we always look for in our house. So excited to see this one. Let's go straight to the pitch video, and then we'll come back for questions.
I'm Stephen Novick, CEO and founder of Farmstand. We're the Earth's first meal delivery service focused on the future of work. We feed your team in the office and at home. We cook and deliver fresh meals. They just need to reheat them. We describe it as a build-your-own salad bar meets Ben's Ready Rice. Our business model is working with businesses, and then we develop a direct relationship with their employees, what's known as business to consumer. Since launching 11 months ago, we've quickly grown to 90K MRR. This is me on the summit of Everest, although 2 years before this, I was diagnosed with cancer. What helped me beat cancer was eating healthy, which was very difficult to do. I started Farmstand to make it easy for everyone to eat healthy, no matter what their goals are. How we feed ourselves has changed. We're 0 to 5 days in the office and 0 to 5 days at home. And 45% of people hate to cook. Our solution is affordable, fast, healthy, and 0 waste. We're focused on marketing to businesses, but our consumer proposition is 5500. We've developed a unique system of making restaurant quality meals at scale. We call it the Farmstand OS. We cook and deliver our meals to businesses that they serve to their employees, often in their office cafeteria. This is an example of what it looks like. And we also deliver our meals to employees at home. We cook and deliver, they just need to reheat. Also, all of our packaging is reusable, compostable, or recyclable. Nothing goes to landfill. We're a certified B Corp and will be certified net zero carbon by June. We've already signed a contract with Barclays and ISS worth $100 million in ARR. We've achieved product market fit with businesses. And we're already converting business relationships into consumer relationships. 90% of new subscribers are also referred. We have achieved product market fit with consumers. So if you're a business or a consumer and you come to eatfarmstand.com based on what you've liked, disliked, and your allergens, we then personalize the meals just for you. And every order you make, our machine learning continues to improve the meals we recommend just for you. So if you're a business or a consumer, you take the fresh meals out of your fridge. Meals are fresh for 7 days, just like groceries, and they're freezer safe for 30 days. Then you can either boil them in hot water for 5 or microwave them for 3. Business-sized meals take 15 minutes. How we make money is we charge businesses £3 per meal and consumers £5. The market we're going after is massive. We're currently raising a £2 million seed round, and we've already closed on 500K. Our team is only 8 full-time people. I previously built $2 billion businesses. Scott's previously developed a successful delivery-only digital restaurant brand. Adrian scaled a consumer food product business globally, and Vitus has headed product at 2 unicorns. Why invest in Farmstand? We're going after a large market that's growing fast. We have strong unit economics and a globally scalable business model. Invest in Farmstand and invest in the future of work. Take a stand. Thanks very much.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Dave, let's go to you for questions, please.
Yeah, I mean, one first comment for everyone who's listening in, that's a very good job of answering pretty much every question about what the business is and having an explanation and the value proposition are very, very clear. So good job on that, Stephen, having that very clear. You know, two things came to mind that for me. One was ghost kitchens and how does that affect you? And then just, you know, where do you see, like, where are your risks? There's lots of food, as we know. There's always risks associated with it. So when you guys were thinking about that, is there a framework that you're thinking through on the risk profile of how this grows? But again, everyone, you should review this and watch it again to see how every question was answered in the presentation. Go ahead, Stephen.
Okay, thanks very much. The first thing is on the risk side. So all of our central kitchen is fully audited by 2 food auditors, NSF and STS. They are global food auditors. We can ship to globally from the UK if we wanted to. We can do hospitals, we can do schools, we can do universities. That's an additional moat to our business. And that allows us to do corporates, which is how we got into working with Barclays. So that's the first part of your first question. There are a lot of other things I can go to around IP and other things that we're doing that we think are additional moats. To your question about partnerships, we are in discussions already with K-Box, with Taster, and a number of other digital restaurant brands, as well as people like GoPuff, Gorillas, Deliveroo, to launch dark kitchens with them. What's nice about our solution, and Reef just launched here, we're in discussions with their CEO. The problem you'll have a lot with these dark kitchens is their execution is extremely poor. Because all of our food is vacuum sealed, these little pouches like this, my dog Bruno, who's a black lab, could make this food. So it doesn't really take very much. It's easier than boiling an egg.
Nice.
Right, and Constanza, over to you.
Thank you, James. Yeah, I agree with David. Super thorough video answering all the points. So it's hard to come up with a question now, but here we go. So this is a crowded sector, especially the B2C part of it, right? We've seen in the past couple of years, or the past year, a lot of meal prep solutions popping up. It's a very smart proposition, going to the business side and therefore go from there to the customer. So what are the competitive advantage that you guys have developed there? So you mentioned, you were mentioning a little bit of those moats that will prepare you to compete eventually with one of the B2C players coming onto the B2B space.
So let's look at B2B first, because that's the main thing that we have. So there, on the B2B side, as you probably know, there's businesses like Taster, Easy Caterer, Eat Club, Fuda, and Grubhub. These are all effectively marketplaces, right? Which is interesting. But the advantage that we have is we have a strong brand. We have 100% personalization, because this is build your own, base, main, and side. We have no added sugar. We have zero waste. We have annual recurring revenue. We have exclusive contracts with caterers. We're a certified B Corp, and we're a net zero carbon. We'll be net zero certified carbon. None of those people I just mentioned can do that. On the direct consumer side, our proposition is 5500. So it's £5 per meal flat pricing, 5 minutes to heat, zero added sugar, and zero waste. Our proposition again is 100% personalization. We have 1,000 meal combinations. Gusto has 60. They've raised about $300 million. We can crush them on personalization. Again, no added sugar. We have zero waste. We also maintain zero inventory, because all of our food ingredients are purchased made to order. Our meal sizes are 25% larger. Our pricing is 25% lower. Our prep time is up to 90% faster. And we take 10 times less fridge space than a meal kit and 2 times less space than a frozen food business. And that's just the UK market. I can talk about the global market as well, if you'd like.
Should you raise more money?
We're happy to do that. It really comes down to the right investor. We're backed by Kindred and Quadia. These are exceptional investors. We're looking for similar like-minded people.
Perfect.
Cool.
Dave, any other questions from you, Dave, or Constanza?
No, this is an easy one, I think. I mean, I think, the trick for you, Stephen, is figuring out who that key partner is, right? And it's going to be certainly these customers, or, it feels, having spent 3 years in the Netherlands, where I will publicly state the food is generally awful. Even when we go to even in the building cafeterias, the food was awful. So there's definitely a need for it, and I think as a consumer as well. I think what typically tips the bucket in this case is you find some key partner, right? That's could be a GoPuff, it could be a Deliveroo, it could also be a very large food company that says, this is the way that we want in these things. And I think that's that's where I would focus from a biz dev kind of point of view.
Yeah, Dave, we're already partnered with ISS, which is a global food service provider based in Denmark. So they have access to 2,000 cafeterias. We're in discussions already in a global partnership directly with With Google, this is a direct relationship. So we got lots of things in the fire. I'm the sales monkey, but that's great advice. But we've already there's a couple businesses that have already reached out to acquire us in the food space. They're food service providers, and we just said no, thank you. Right now, we're trying to maintain Swiss status, so we can partner with a Compass or an Aramark, and we can do sports arenas. We do lots of different things, and we also have a model we can license what we do as well. So we're in that discussion right now with Spotify and with Amazon in the US through their food service providers.
So again, people, well thought out. Take this as an example of things to think through, even if they don't ever, and I mean, Stephen will tell you, they may not all come to pass. But it's certainly smart to have this in the back of your mind because you never know what's going to come along.
Dave, I made a lot of mistakes, so I can talk about those too.
Perfect.
It's on my license plate. I'm like,
Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us today. Great video and obviously very, very concise answers, which is great to see and great learning for everyone here. So we appreciate that. So look, this just about brings us towards the end of this evening's session. So it'd be great to, Dave and Constanza, get a bit of feedback from the pitches you've seen this evening, and any advice you'd give to whether it be the pitchers or the wider audience. So Dave, once again, let's go to you first, please.
Yeah, so I think first of all, thank you everybody. It's difficult and good job on these things, and it's nice to see. I think the interesting trend for me was the sort of the ESG aspect, right? Of like the environmental parts was terrific, especially coming from a lot. I come from a lot of deep tech stuff, and it's like, yeah, we're probably going to destroy the planet, and so it makes me feel better than that. But there's a lot of I think the other interesting thing for the audience is there's a lot of tremendous amounts of opportunity in these areas, right? Like there's all sorts of great things you can do that will offset some of the bad things that are being done. So in terms of the companies, I thought everybody was interesting in a different way. And I was trying to think of which ones would I use. And I live in New York now. So, I actually have laundry in the apartment. So it's like, but it's as luxurious as it gets. People will live in a closet to have a washing machine in New York City. But I thought, boy, I would be glad to have you do my laundry better. Same thing, Pedal Me, I would actually just work part-time. This was another question I had. It's like, could I just, deliver goods for Pedal Me part-time, just as a little exercise? I love Borrow a Boat as a business. I hate boats. I don't even know if I hate them. I'm never going to go on one, but I think it's a great business. And so I think from an investment point of view, I'm all in on that one. The Wurkr one, you guys got my question already. Is like, I just am doing all I can to hide in the corner. And then for Farmstand, Stephen, again, really well done, very mature. I don't take that in a negative fashion, but it's very difficult to think these things through at that level. And the reality is, and just one other note is, you talked about acquisitions and stuff. And I think a lot of times people pitch and they're like, well, Microsoft will acquire us. You have no idea who's ever going to come acquire you. I'm going through one right now where a company that I'm an angel in, and like it's a super hardcore blockchain thing. And it's a consumer company that's desperately trying to acquire. Never in a million years would that have been on a target. So you don't know what other people are going to want to buy. So just, be smart about what you're building, make sure that you understand it and do your work. That's it for me.
Amazing. And Constanza, any feedback and what are your thoughts from this evening?
Echo what Dave just said. I mean, I think everybody did an amazing job, and I feel quite optimistic after hearing all these pitches. There's so much space to improve how we do things right now, make certain solutions more impactful, more green, more efficient as well. So it's like a no-brainer, right? So even in industries that you might say, oh, that's a little bit boring, like laundry, Oxwash, you are doing something fantastic there to making it greener and cheaper. Similar with Pedal Meal, Wurkr, Borrow a Boat, and Farmstand. So yeah, no, great job, great variety as always, as you guys curating this list of startups. So appreciate that. Thank you for having me again. And I think, well, the only advice that I will give is for the ones that are currently fundraising, don't forget to put the ask at the end. Don't forget to mention that what you're looking for, what type of investor you're looking for, what is your wish list, and be closing always.
Yeah, I think we've learned don't buy a boat. You don't need a washer dryer, and ask for the money. That's really what it comes down to.
Good advice there. So look, I'm glad everyone could join us today. So thank you for taking time out your evening to be with us for this session. Of course, a big thank you to all of our pitchers and both Constanza and Dave for taking part on the panel as well. Of course, we couldn't do this without Oracle NetSuite. So a massive thank you for their support and partnership. I think everyone here finds this so valuable. So it's something we'll continue to do. And we're really excited to do so. So look, we've got some great sessions coming up. We are doing more and more back in person as well. So we've got some roundtables coming up with the likes of Twilio and Snapchat and a few other of our partners. So I hope to see you all in person very soon. But thank you once again and have a lovely evening.
James, thanks everyone.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, everyone.